The Guardian of London finally got on the story internationally, and they flew a renowned reporter of theirs named Duncan Campbell over to Washington to take me back to the archives and Library of Congress so that they could verify that these explosive documents were real and I didn't have forged copies. Some very shocking documents that I saw at the Library of Congress had to do with the hearings of the McCormick-Dickstein Committee of November 1934, show that Prescott Bush and the DuPont family, the Remington family, and J.P. Morgan tried to overthrow the U.S. government, assassinate FDR, and put a Hitler-style fascist state in place. I have in my possession testimony from the McCormick-Dickstein Committee in November of 1934 by one of the fascist plotters that they were going to follow Hitler's model exactly and impose martial law on the United States, round up unemployed people that were worthless to the economy and troublemakers and Jews and put them into internment camps. And their plan was, if necessary, to exterminate the people that could not be part of the effort. The only reason the coup attempt in 1934 didn't succeed is that they hired the wrong general to lead it, General Smedley Butler, the great Marine hero, two-time Congressional Medal of Honor winner, who worked with the plotters just long enough to be able to identify who they were and then blew the whistle on them to Congress.
On August 6, 1945, the United States used the atomic bomb against the Japanese on the city of Hiroshima. The bomb completely destroyed about 5 square miles of the city, instantly killing between 70,000 and 100,000 people. Thousands more died later from radiation poisoning.
Go ahead.
On another subject. We have a very great problem in this country today, and I wonder if you would use your leadership to counteract the rumors, the rumor mongers that are abroad in the land who are spreading all these rumors and scaring people to death. Large segments of our citizens believe that the United Nations is taking over whole blocks of counties in Kentucky and Tennessee, and some of them, they believe that we are going to the concentration camp, and they're going to give our army to Russia and all that baloney.
The issue is, we live in an interdependent world. We have to cooperate with people. We're better off when we do. We're better off with NATO. We're better off with the United Nations. We're better off when these countries can work together. So I just think for folks that are worried about this out in the country, they need to be thinking about how we're not going to give up our freedom or our independence, but we're not going to go it alone into the 21st century either. We're going to work together, and we have to.
On February 26, 1993, at 12:19 p.m., a truck bomb detonated in the underground parking garage of Tower 1 of the World Trade Center complex. The bomb was a urea nitrate device enhanced with hydrogen gas. The bomb ripped a 30-meter wide hole through 4 sublevels of concrete. 6 people were killed and 1,042 injured as smoke poured into the towers. Investigators found the axle of the Ryder truck that was used in the bombing, and were able to trace the vehicle identification number to the man who rented the truck, Mohammed Salameh. Eventually, blame for the bombing came to rest with Ramzi Youssef, whose uncle, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, or KSM, confessed to masterminding the 9/11 attacks from A to Z in a highly dubious, heavily redacted confession extracted after 4 years of torture in a secret CIA prison, and after having his sons abducted and used as bargaining chips in the interrogation process. Media fascination with the case was quick to focus on Ramzi Youssef. But during the investigation, some startling information came to light.
Last winter, the FBI was praised for its speed in cracking the case of the World Trade Center bombing and bringing 4 suspects to trial. Now, there is some evidence that the FBI may have known of the plot in advance through an informant and might even have stopped the bombing that killed 6 people. Correspondent Jacqueline Adams has the story.
FBI agents might have been able to prevent last February's deadly explosion at New York's World Trade Center. They discussed secretly substituting harmless powder for the explosives, but they didn't, according to the FBI's own informant, Imad Salem. Unbeknownst to the FBI at the time, Salem recorded many of his conversations with his handlers.
I'm holding 903 pages of draft transcripts.
William Kunstler represents Sheikh Omar Abdel Rahman and several others charged with conspiring to blow up a series of New York City landmarks 4 months after the World Trade Center bombing. That case has not yet gone to trial. Kunstler confirmed newspaper reports of the Salem transcripts. In one, Salem complains to an FBI agent, "Since the bomb went off, I feel terrible. I feel bad. I feel here is people who don't listen." The agent replies, "Hey, I mean, it wasn't like you didn't try and I didn't try. You can't force people to do the right thing."
There is material in here to show gross governmental misconduct.
Today, attorneys for the defendants in the ongoing World Trade Center bombing case formally asked for the transcripts of Salem's tapes.
Quite frankly, beyond me, why now, the 4th week into the trial, we still don't have these materials.
Prosecutors have refused to comment publicly, but legal experts say the defense may have no right to those transcripts.
It's not a defense to a crime to say, if only the government had stopped me, I wouldn't have done it. So this isn't material that ordinarily the defense would be entitled to.
In court today, a witness from the Ford Motor Company linked debris recovered from the explosion site to a Ford van where defendant Mohammed Salama was arrested less than a week after the bombing. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, New York.
As reported by CBS News, the New York Times, and other respected news organizations at the time, Imad Salem was an ex-Egyptian army officer turned FBI informant, and was essential in helping convict others in the bombing. However, it was Salem's contention that he had agreed to supply fake explosives to the bombers, and he was overruled by his FBI handlers. Salem, perhaps experienced in the machinations of black ops, had the sense to tape some of his telephone conversations with his FBI handlers, including FBI Special Agent John Antichev. This is a recording of one of Salem's conversations with Antichev.
Everything was submitted with a receipt, and now it's questionable.
It's not questionable. It's like a little out of ordinary.
Okay.
You know.
All right. I don't think it was. If that's what you think, guys, fine. But I don't think that, because we was start already building the bomb, which is went off in the World Trade Center. It was built by supervision from the Bureau and the DA, and we was all informed about it, and we know that the bomb start to be built. By who? By your confidential informant. What a wonderful, great case. Wow. And then he put his head in the sand and said, "Oh, no, that's not true. He is son of a bitch." Okay, it's built with a different way in another place, and that's it.
In the taped conversation, Salem makes it clear that the FBI informant had in fact gone ahead and built the bomb. Antichev says nothing in response. Hundreds of hours of taped conversations exist between Salem and his FBI handlers, but they were never used in the trials of the bombing conspirators. To this day, the FBI refuses to acknowledge their foreknowledge of the attacks or the fact that their informant built the bomb.